What is going on, guys, and welcome to a new work tutorial where I'll be showing you guys how to do artifact glitching in HitFilm. Now first I'm going to show you how to manually do artifact glitching. So we're going to drag in our stock footage, then we're going to duplicate. Okay, so press Ctrl D. Next we're going to open up the top layer, we're going to open up transform, and we're going to scale this up by around 200%. Next up we're going to select the rectangular mask tool by pressing R. And we're just going to draw a mask. You can make it whatever shape you like. I usually let these stay for about 5 frames and then I move on to a different one. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to split and delete this one. I'm going to duplicate and move this one a bit further ahead. And then we're going to delete the mask and set a new one. Now just keep on repeating this process. So I've done about 4 glitches, and when we preview it, you can see that it's definitely noticeable, but it could be a little less subtle. So what we could do is we could add effects to this. So we could add we could lower saturation, which would definitely benefit in this case. We're just gonna do that to all of them. You could add some levels, and maybe up the input black, so that which kind of does that. You could do whatever you want basically on these layers. You could have this one be like that, and then have the second one, make sure to select that one first. You can have the second one maybe decrease the output black, so that it's, although this doesn't really seem to matter that much. Seems to be one solid color. We can make this one a bit more cyanish. You can just do whatever you want really. So as you can see, that looks a whole lot better already. Next up I'm going to show you how to do the same thing, but then somewhat automated. So we're going to make a new layer, a new plane. It doesn't really matter what color this is. So next up we're going to apply fractal noise to this layer. I'm going to open this up. There's not very much customization you can do over here, but what we are going to do is we're going to open up appearance, and then we're going to decrease the exposure of color 2, which is white. Next up we're going to add some contrast to this, so we're going to search up contrast and then drag on brightness and contrast. We're just going to turn up contrast all the way, maybe not decrease color 2 as much. I'm going to duplicate this a few times. There we go. Now we're going to make it just about like that. Next up we're going to add mosaic to the same solid or planes, whatever, it doesn't matter. Next up we're going to add mosaic. We're going to change the amount of blocks to about 2020. There we go. Let's maybe have a bit more horizontal blocks there, a bit more square. Next up we're going to key out the black, so we're going to search for key and then select hue and RGB key, drag that on. Now we're going to obviously key out the black, so we're going to select this to black, and we're going to go match colors by RGB. So now as you can see, we have this kind of random blocks moving out the screen. Now we're going to want to make these move, but in HitFilm you can't change the evolution, so we're going to have to keyframe the seed. So we're just going to go from the beginning to about the end of this scene, which is right about over here. And we're just going to keyframe this up. It really doesn't matter how much you do it, it will change every frame anyway. So then you get this kind of dots that move around quite randomly. So next up we're going to close this one and right click, make a new composite shot and select move with layer, so now you just get one layer. That's these blocks. Next up we're going to duplicate this footage. At the top layer we're going to open that one up, we're going to select transform and we're going to scale this up to how much you like. I usually do it a little over 200. Next up we're going to search up matte. Next up we're going to search up matte We're going to select Set Matte. I'm going to drag that onto this layer. I'm going to open it up, and the source layer is going to be the top layer. And we're going to set this to alpha if it's not already. Next up, we're going to hide the top layer. And there it is. This is automatic glitching. Now, if you want to change the amount of blocks, what you can do is you can go into this composite shot you created. You can select this layer. You're going to go into Effects, Fractal Noise, Appearance, and you can always change this exposure. And this, if you turn it down, there will be less. If you turn it up, there will be more. Simple as that. Now, you can also do is you can select this layer, and you can also, in much the same way we did before, we can also apply effects to it. So we can desaturate it, we can oversaturate it, we can change the hue. Now the downside of this is that this is a control for every single glitch bit, and you can't change it individually like we could before. So that's something to keep in mind when you're doing this. Another trick you can do, in case you find this glitching a bit too fast, you can go into the composition you created and change the frame rate from 30 to about somewhere around 10. And that will slow down the glitching by a factor of 3 in this case. I'm just going to have it around preview for a bit. So as you can see, that's a lot slower. So that's been it. If you use this tutorial for a project or have some view to express, or if you have any tutorial sessions, leave a comment for us, like if you found it helpful, dislike if you didn't, and I will see you in the next tutorial.